Hi there, this is Brent Harris. Pretty excited to make this video for you today. In that I'm going to get into some subject matter that I've never been able to really quite articulate before. I've made a lot of videos that sort of like circle the drain, so to speak, where I kind of, hint at it here and there. But as I've been, moving into the study of, how to accomplish your life's potential, how to become the best that you can be, how can you operate at this higher level of activity and output that I know is possible for me, and you know is possible for you, and I know is possible for you. What will be involved in that? And it seems really simple. The whole idea would be to just make sure that you don't do bad things and make sure that you do good things. Wouldn't that be an accurate summary of the entire self-help movement, the entire study of self-development? Just do good things, do things that are good for you, and don't do things that are bad for you. It seems simple, yet this is something that all of us struggle with. Not all of us, but really all of us, to some extent or other, we have an inclination to do something that's not in our best interest. So my question is, what's up with that? And that's been my question for a long time. Like, why would we feel compelled to do something that's bad for us? Say, smoke a cigarette, or drink too much, or be lazy, or waste a day procrastinating, or whatever it is. It seems to me that if we can master this subject, if we can figure out what that is, then we've basically found the key to self-growth, have we not? And so to that end, there's a concept that I want to introduce in this video that I believe articulates articulates the answer to this question. And it's this: polarization. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to explain what I mean by polarization and how to use this concept so that you can break out of cycles of unhelpful behavior, perhaps even some low-level addictions if you have any, and to reclaim control over your behavior so that you can do good things, i.e. be healthy, exercise, whatever, on a consistent basis, and start to reap the long-term benefits and allow the long-term benefits to compile on top of themselves so that you can be elevated into higher and higher levels of existence. And there we go. That's the nut. That is the subject of this video. So, polarity, polarization. So to be polarized by something is to be caught in a good-bad dynamic around something. So take something like smoking cigarettes. Classically, it is not good to smoke cigarettes. It's, they're very bad for your health for a lot of reasons. There's no debate about it. And so therefore what we've done is we've concluded that smoking is bad. And we're very justified in this. We have good reasons for it. But the problem whenever we label something as bad is that it's sort of strange, but we create a weird form of hypnosis around it. If something is bad, then what that means is we have to get away from it. Either we have to get away from it, or we need to get rid of it and destroy it and, do away with it in whatever way that we can. And again, that makes sort of sense. But the thing is that if there's anything in your life that you consider to be bad, because it has the label of bad, it will occupy a piece of our attention. It's something that it's not allowed to stand there. It's not allowed to be there. If something's bad, it's like, it's bad. It literally means on its face, it's not okay. And so therefore something must be done about it. And so therefore, as long as there's something bad in your reality, you're bound to it. something must be done. Inaction cannot be tolerated, and it can't be accepted. It's unacceptable. Do you see what I mean? How it's like kind of coded into the language that way. If something in our life is bad and the opposite of it is good, then we are caught in struggle. We are struggling towards the good as opposed to the bad. It's just like in any sort of Christian mythology, how supposedly we're born and we are, and our mandate is to get into heaven and to avoid hell. And for some reason, and it's really fucky if you think about it, apparently there's something in us that is inclined towards hell. Like if we're left to our own resources, if we were to do what felt right and what felt appropriate and what felt good, and even like what felt somewhat intuitive, that would lead us to hell. And the idea about getting into heaven is overcoming, our, baser nature or our baser instincts or our primal self. We're supposed to overcome and manually override like our own psychology, our own makeup in order to make it into heaven. And so that's like the old-fashioned way of going around about Christianity. And that's, strangely enough, that's how we operate our lives when it comes to health and wellness and self-growth and self-development. Isn't that interesting? There's this thread on Reddit a little while ago, I think earlier this month, on r/askreddit. You might find it if you sort by top of the month or something. And Anthony Bourdain, may he rest in peace, he is quoted for having said that there's like this inside of him there's this like dude that just wants to sit on the couch and smoke pot and watch TV, and everything he does his whole life is a way of overcoming that like inner version of himself. And like the question on that thread was like, what do you do to overcome your version of that thing? And I thought that's interesting, because what that means is that to live like that, it means that you live in a perpetual, unending state of conflict with yourself. And sometimes you feel that conflict acutely, like it's like, oh, I just want to smoke pot and chill on the couch and watch a movie. And sometimes you don't feel it as strongly. It just goes into the background. But the key point here is that it goes from the background into the foreground, into the background, into the foreground. But no matter what, it's still there. It's still doing its thing. And the idea being that's our cross to bear forever. So I propose a way out of this. And the way out is through depolarization. So how do we depolarize? Now, I'm hesitating a little bit because we're getting into potentially controversial territory. And when I say potentially controversial, I mean that it's not actually controversial. It's not like, if I can get this across properly, it's not controversial, but it has a high possibility of being misinterpreted that I have to be very careful about as I say this. So I'll say it and you'll see what I mean. The idea to move out of polarity is to remove the good and bad labels of things. So that which, at least momentarily, that which you call bad is not bad, and that which you call good is no longer good. If we're able to successfully do that, then instead of like climbing the mountain up to heaven and trying to get there and the rain and winds at our face and how do I get up there, and I need to avoid the sweet delicious temptation that's bringing me down to hell, in order to get over that drama of everything, it just becomes a choice between vanilla and chocolate, the door on the left or the door on the right. What's it going to be? If you can remove the polarity element of any two behaviors, say smoking or not smoking, for example, or, eating healthy, eating unhealthy, sleeping in, waking up on time, watching Netflix, watching something else, or not watching something, whatever it is. If you remove the good and bad element so that you're just presented with merely two options, then all you have to do is just choose the option that you prefer. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense as I say it. So therefore, I will move on into the next section, which is how to do that, how to depolarize yourself, how to remove these good and bad labels of something. So let's take an example. So say, for example, it is your desire to get to sleep on time and wake up on time. You want to get your sleep schedule in control, which is a very common issue with a lot of people that I work with. It's one of, like, especially if you want to become really productive, to get your sleep schedule like on point is like foundational. It's like ground zero. It's like the thing to do, starting with sleep. So you want to get to bed on time. And say you're usually getting to bed at 1 a.m. and you're not doing anything, amazing at all. You're just kind of, wasting time playing games or watching videos or whatever. So you've labeled that as bad. So every time you do that, you end up sleeping in and waking up late. And then you go through a little bit of this like self-punishment thing. So you're like, oh, I shouldn't have, and you're mad at yourself, and and I'm wasting time. And you go through all this like kind of like this sort of self-abuse cycle as a result of staying up late. And you do this every single day. And at the same time, you're trying to do the good thing, which is to go to bed on time. How to depolarize? I suggest that you depolarize this behavior by doing one of two things. Either, number one, you apply a little bit of elbow grease and you really push and you really get yourself to get to bed on time. You really kind of make it happen. You really kind of force your hand, and make sure you get to bed at whatever, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., whatever it is. Or number two, go to bed late as you want, watch videos, do the whole thing, stay up until 2, but do it with congruence, which is to do it deliberately, which is to do it on purpose and without apology and without like kind of pulling your punch. Like really follow through with it, really do it, really enjoy it, really like make the most of it that you possibly can. Really immerse yourself entirely and utterly in that experience of staying up late. Because if you do that, you can't be polarized about it anymore, because you can only be polarized about something that you don't approve of. That's how the energy of polarity stays in place, is you've labeled it as bad. You literally don't approve of it. So if you let it be okay and you just allow yourself to do what you're doing without creating any conflict about it, then what you're doing is you're allowing the momentum of that polarity to just run its course. And you just and it just kind of runs out naturally in the end. And what's kind of cool, I believe you'll find, is that if you do this, it's sort of, it has, doorbell, sorry, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I forget exactly where I was, but I was saying that if you allow, so if you just do it with congruence and the momentum of the conflict, it'll start to wear itself out. And then, and so it's kind of like when you have a child and the child really wants to like do something. Say they really want to climb a tree or something, and you're like, hey, no, it's not safe to climb that tree. And they're like, oh, please, I want to. And you're like, no, don't. They're like, I want to. And then you're like, don't climb that tree. It's not safe. And then maybe you come back the next day, but you're able to maybe climb the tree with the kid and make sure the kid's safe or whatever. And then they do it and they climb the tree and they're like, huh, okay. Maybe they climb it a few more times, but then after that, it's not interesting anymore and there's nothing attractive about it. That is what it means for that sense of fascination to just dissipate. You can create a drama where there need not be any if you withhold something from yourself that you have kind of an attraction to. But if you just allow that attraction to run its course without making it weird or adding any conflict to it, then there's nothing really pulling you to it anymore. Yeah. I think that's what I came here to say. So, okay, yeah, a note must be made about if, like, there are some behaviors that truly are like not in your best interest. Like, say, I don't know, like, say heavy drugs, you know, or like really dangerous activities or whatever. So there, you know, use your common sense. Don't put yourself in danger. You know, don't do things that are really harmful for you or whatever. But it bears mentioning, for example, take something like cigarettes, where if you're smoking a pack a day and that's what you're doing, either, like, the same thing still applies, where either like stop smoking and really like force your hand and really make it happen and really stop smoking, or if you choose to continue, if you do choose to continue to smoke cigarettes, then do it congruently and do it on purpose and enjoy it and be with it and love it and have fun with it and do it with absolute abandon. Especially if you're not even increasing the amount that you're smoking. If it's like just like the same as it otherwise would be, then doesn't it just make way more sense to do it without conflict? And see what happens. See what happens if you just allow yourself to do that which you're not supposed to do. You know, when you kind of get rid of this, like, you know, adult and child relationship with yourself about it. Who knows? You might be able to actually stop a lot of bad behavior this way and really start a lot of good behavior. That's all. Okay. So let me know how that works out for you. I would be very interested to know if you want to leave a comment, if you want to send me an email or something. hello@brentheuris.com. It's my email. And I would be so grateful if you'd consider hitting like, if you'd subscribe to this channel, if you feel like this information is good for you and it's serving you well. And then finally, if you want to check out my website, I have this cool download. I created a book called Start With Choice, which is all about how to reclaim your power and get your shit done and enter into high productivity. And the book is for free. Just opt in with your email. That's all I got. Please take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.